Currently reading The Savage Song.
Hey guys, welcome to the Book Island. Today I'll be doing a review on Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Alright, so Lord of the Flies, it takes place on an island somewhere in the Pacific, and it's about these group of English boys who get plane wrecked on an island, and they're stranded there and they have to figure out a way to survive until the adults come to save them. So it's in the 1950s, I think that's where it takes place because it's when it was written. So it's basically about all the chaos that ensues once those kids are left alone on the island, and it's like about how they live and how they react to the situation of being stranded alone without any adults to guide them on their way. So Ralph is the first main character, and when the story starts, he's the first character you meet. And Ralph is trying to find all the other boys, and they stumble across this conch, which is a shell, and he blows the conch and everybody comes to him. So when all the boys meet, they suddenly decide that they need to have a chief. They're like, we need to have order, and they're like, because we're English boys, and we're not savages, we're organized and stuff like that. So they do that, and they have to pick a chief, and all the boys pick Ralph. He's trying to keep the boys into civilization, and he's like, now we need to make these rules, and we need to follow these rules. On the island, there's a bunch of craziness that starts to happen, and they kind of stray away from what we would think is civilized behavior type deal. So there's a lot of foreshadowing going on, and like, people think that it's like good versus evil, and Ralph is this good, like, civilization. He's the path to being a good person type deal. And so I believe that Ralph is what is supposed to be like good. So in his character, he's very much trying to take charge, and he just wants everyone to be safe. He wants to be able to go home. He just wants to make sure everybody can go home safe and everybody can feel okay, feel at home, and he's trying not to feel very scared. But you can see in the book that he is actually very terrified to be on this island, and that he's going through a shocking experience, and it's it's not an ideal situation for young boys to be left alone on an island. So now I want to talk about Jack's character. Jack's character is he's not a dark character, I just feel like he doesn't know the concept of right and wrong. In my own opinion, I feel like Jack, when he's doing all of the things that he's doing in the book, he really thinks he's doing it for the better of the boys. Like, he leads all the boys towards savagery. He's always wanted to be the chief. He felt really embarrassed when Ralph was chosen over him because he was like head of the choir boys and he was in charge and he was the leader of his group. And now he's not anymore and he has to listen to this other boy. And he felt probably very kind of like lowered down. He felt like he'd lost all his power, and he probably doesn't like that. So when he decides to lead the hunters, and he goes off into this idea that he needs to hunt, and he tries to kill the pigs over and over again. And it's like, in the foreshadowing of this book, Jack is seen as the evil, so he's chaos and uncivilized being, savagery and stuff like that. And in my own personal opinion, I feel like there's two different sides to Jack. I feel like there is the savage side that he shouldn't really have done what he had done. He could have taken it to a less of an extent, but if you think about it, you're stuck on an island for as long as they are, being like, the boys are in a group from like 12 under. They don't really know much. They're not really exposed to all of society yet, even in our own, like, in modern day society. Like, they don't really know. They still kind of need to get more refreshed on the concept of right and wrong. Like, I'm 16, I still need to know more about what right and wrong is type deal. But there's also the fact that Jack is doing all he can do to survive. He's trying to provide them with food, and like, it kind of takes over him, which is what leads him to the savagery. At first it's just, we need meat, we need to eat. And then it's like, hunt, hunt, hunt. Like, he takes it too far a bit. And so I feel as though him as a character, he's more complex than you'd think. So now I'm going to talk about Simon. Simon is another one of the main characters. He's like in between Ralph and Jack. He's like Ralph is good in civilization and blah blah blah, and Jack is savagery and evil and stuff. But like Simon's more like trying to find a path. He's trying to be like one with nature and like not kill all the pigs, but at the same time he's not like there are rules and like there are things we have to do. He's like in the forest kind of just wandering about. I think that's what I feel, that's what I understood kind of from Simon's character. And there's a very important scene in chapter 8 between Simon and the Lord of the Flies when they're talking. A lot of people have compared Simon's character to Jesus, kind of, and I don't really understand. That comparison kind of it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time because they compare him to Jesus because like he like sacrificed himself for the greater good type, but I don't think so. Like, so in chapter 9, Simon he dies, and the boys kill him. They mistake him for the beast, and they like tear his skin with their teeth and their nails, and they kill him, and it's very kind of gruesome-ish. So it's kind of like showing all the boys have now become savage. They couldn't even distinguish a beast from their own comrade type deal. So it's like they've gone really too far, and like after the fact of the death you see like Ralph and Piggy and they're like, what did we do? Like Ralph is like, what did we do? We killed, that was murder. And then Piggy said, no, it was an accident, we didn't know. Like we didn't know it was him. But really they were all in the moment, and they were all like kill, 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 and they were kind of taking on a very scary route, you know? They were feeling very powerful emotions of like really wanting to kill something. And so that led to Simon's death. When Simon is talking to the Lord of the Flies, they're having conversation, and the Lord of the Flies is like, I'm in all of you. Like he says, I'm like the beast is in all of them. It's never gonna leave them alone. And I think that kind of symbolizes the like the darkness within each person. The Lord of the Flies was talking to Simon about how it was like he's always in them, and that savagery is actually within them every day, but it's just that they just don't let it out, or they just don't show it because of like what they're taught in every day. Like society teaches us that being violent is not a good thing, which is good because like violence is, I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just saying that for them, they're on an island and they don't have adults and they don't have society to tell them that every day, you know, so they're forgetting it. So Piggy is another one of the main characters, and he is a young boy. He's kind of plump and he has specs and stuff, and he's very intelligent. So Piggy is the first one to meet Ralph, and he's the second character we meet in Lord of the Flies. So Piggy's character basically is he is the embodiment of rules and of what is right in the world and like civilization and society. He is that. Like he's like that symbol in the book. Piggy's character is the symbol of like rules and society and stuff. Piggy, he keeps reminding like Ralph, he's like, you need to keep the order, you need to make rules for us to follow because we need rules to survive. And then in chapter, I think 10 or 11, I forget which one, Roger kills Piggy. He like pushes a rock off a cliff and sends him tumbling down to the bottom of the cliff, and he dies. And I think that death is really, it's like the end of order on the island. It's like as soon as Piggy died, everything just went to crap, and the boys started being savages, like real savages. Because before Piggy's death, they were savages, but they weren't savages to an extreme, and then after his death, I think it's more like they feel like all the relics or the remnants of an organized society are gone, they're off the island, and now Jack just leads the boys into chaos and savagery, basically. And his death marks like the beginning of the end, kind of the book. His death is like the beginning of when the boys kind of go crazy, and then it's like but it also marks the end because you know the story's gonna finish soon. The Lord of the Flies is the pig's head on a spike. At one point in the story, Simon goes and he has this conversation with the Lord of the Flies. And it's basically Simon hallucinating or imagining the Lord of the Flies talking to him. And in my own opinion, I feel as though the Lord of the Flies is what he thinks is the beast. He is what he thinks is the beast within. So now I'm going to talk about the beast, and the beast is really what sets off the entire story. I think in about chapter 3 or 4, when the little one says, I saw a beastie on the island, and then like there's a bit of chatter going around talking about it, but they don't really pay much attention to it. And then about chapter 5, the little ones are like, I saw a beastie, he came out from the water and went into the forest. And that's when Jack is like, well, we'll hunt it, we'll kill it. And then Jack starts to think, we have to kill the beast, we have to kill, we have to kill, we have to kill. And then his hunters all follow him. And the beast actually is the pilot, sitting on the rock, and the parachute's behind the beast and blowing in the wind. And when Sam and Eric first find the beast, they think the parachute is wings because the wind is blowing its head and making it move and stuff like that because of the parachute. So you really like see Sam and Eric start to get terrified, absolutely terrified. They run back to camp and say, we saw the beast, because what they think they saw is the beast and a moving thing, so like a corpse basically. And then the whole terror kind of starts up, and yeah, that's basically the beast. But another way you can put the beast is what they want to see, kind of. The beast, I believe the same thing that Simon believes. I believe that in the book, what William Golding was trying to say is that there is a beast within everyone, even small children type deal, and I feel like the beast is really what's inside of the boys on the island. And that when they saw the body of the pilot, Sam and Eric were projecting the fear that they had of being on the island into the beast. Like, the boys were all terrified of being on this island, but they just didn't want to admit it because they're strong young boys, right? They're like, they have this stereotype of like, they're strong English boys, so they can't be terrified and they have to stay in order. But if there's a beast, they're allowed to be scared. They're allowed to go into chaos, right? So I feel like they project their fear into the thought of there is a beast on the island and we need to save ourselves and everybody's scared, and it's just kind of, it creates more chaos, and I feel like the beast is just within them, like Simon thinks. So that's my review on Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Sorry if it was a little long. I had so many things to say about this book, to be honest. I started off I was going to my English class being like, I'm reading all the books I don't want to read this year. Like, Lord of the Flies, I had no motivation to actually read it, and then I read it and I was like, you know what, it's not bad. It's actually kind of entertaining, to be honest, and kind of educational a bit, and so I feel as though it's a good book to read, especially in school, and so that is all really I have to say. I'm sorry if my review was a bit long. Again, I did have a lot of things to say, and so I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you could like, thumbs up, subscribe if you like want to see more of this type of video. I mean, like, it's totally your choice, but like, it'd be really great for me. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye!